Hi, and welcome to Chef Maxwell's Kitchen. We're down here at the Culinary Institute of Virginia where we get a chance to play with some great Virginia food every time we're on show. Today it's onions. Virginia's got great onions. This is a good time of year for them. And we're going to make a very classic Alsatian onion tart. Tart's just like a pie, but we're going to make some individual ones. What I've started here is I've got some onions and I'm cutting them very, very thin. Butter and some oil started over here in the pan. When it gets nice and hot, of course we're using induction cooking here, so it gets hot pretty fast. We're going to throw these onions in. All right. And we're going to move them around. Now you can hasten this process by putting a little bit of sugar in here. Right? I'm not a fan of that, but I just need to let you know that you can do that. I'm going to throw a little bit of salt in there, a little bit of pepper. And now this has got to cook for a little while. So while we're doing that, we're going to make the pie crust that goes into this thing. All right, we've got, or that this goes into. I've got some flour, all-purpose flour, and some butter in here, a little bit of salt, all right, a little bit of pepper. All right, and now I'm going to cut the butter into the flour, and you can use any kind of fat. I like to use the butter, and I'm just rubbing this through with my hands. I'm rubbing the flour and the butter together, and ideally you want this to be kind of grainy so that all of the butter, all of the fat combines well with the flour. All right. And I don't know, I'm giving away secrets here. I'm not sure I'm supposed to. You're supposed to think that making a pie crust is really, really hard. All right. But as can you see the difference here? Now we got some little clumps of fat all coated with the flour. Right, now we're going to take a little bit of water, nice cold water, ice water, add that, and move it around to make a dough. We're going to add just enough to make it hold together good. It comes out to be about 2 ounces for this. It was about a cup of flour, about 2 tablespoons of butter. All right. And now we've got our pie dough. Now what we want to do with this is wrap it in plastic, put it in the refrigerator, and let it sit there for a half hour or so. All right. I'm going to wash my hands off and come back to these onions, and I have some pie dough that I made earlier that we're going to roll out and get a chance to see how that works. Okay, here we are. I've got the onions started to be caramelized in here, and they're coming along very, very nicely. I've got the pie dough that I made earlier is out here. I've dusted it with a little bit of flour. I'm going to take a little bit more flour and dust my rolling pin. Now, this is the kind of rolling pin my grandmother taught me to use. It doesn't have moving parts, and for me, that's an important consideration. I break lots of things in the kitchen, and the fewer moving parts they have, the better off I am. So I'm just rolling this out, and you see how easy it is to roll this pie dough. It's looser than most. All right, now, I'm using a tart. I'm using a souffle cup to make my tart in. And you can see here's one that I had done and pre-baked. All right, so I'm going to open this up, put it down into there. Right. Make sure it sets down nicely in the pie pan or tin or whatever it is that you're going to use. Little tartlet shells are fine. All right, and then I'm going to just cut this. You can use a knife, butter knife, spoon, whatever you want to cut this. Okay, and here we go with our pie crust already set in. I'm going to add 1 egg, about a cup of cream, some salt, some pepper. I'm going to whisk this nice. And what I've made here is a custard. The egg and the cream makes a custard. And I'm going to add my onions to this, get them coated nicely. Now, you can bake it in a pre-baked crust if you'd like, or bake it in raw if you want. This is deep, so I'm going to bake it raw. All right, put the onions in. All right. And make sure I get custard that goes in to fill it up. And I'm going to put this into the oven for about 20 minutes. Now, if you use a flatter, wider pan, it's going to add a little bit more time to it. The more material you've got in there to cook, the longer it's going to take. So I'd figure if you're making a whole tart, a whole pan, pie pan, it's going to take about 35 minutes. All right, so this is going to go in the oven, and I put one in earlier, and it's about ready to come out, and I'll show you how to put this on the plate. All right, we're out here. I've got this. Now, this pie dough is pretty fragile. It was nice and light, easy to work with, but it's fragile, so I'm not going to take it out of the pan. I'm just going to set this on the plate with a little bit of salad greens, and it really doesn't need any more than that. Right? You can dress the greens if you'd like. You can use a sauce if you'd like. I like it just the way it is. All right? So I'm going to take a little bit of a taste here. Oh man, that's good. Those onions come up nice and sweet when you caramelize them well. It's delicious.
Remember, here at Chef Maxwell's, we always play with our food, but it's better if the food is safe, fresh, and locally grown. For more delicious recipes using Virginia-grown fruits and vegetables, contact Lisa Lloyd at the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services at 102 Governor Street, Richmond, Virginia, 23219.
Chef Maxwell's recipes are listed on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafarmbureau.org.